3, 4. B minor. What do you think of that? Welcome to
get to sleep.
Worry about the implications.
Did you ever see the episode of Scrubs where he sings that in the morgue?
No.
I mean, you guys are on the internet. Don't go right now. But,
Give him something to watch now,
but
Dylan.
yeah, like there's an episode of Scrubs. It starts out right. Have you seen this, Daniel?
Yes, I have seen this. That's I think how I know the song.
Do you see what I mean?
A generational thing, yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
general-
that is.
Daniel has his own camera today. Everybody say hi to Daniel.
See,
Whoa!
there he is.
What
Look
the
at that
heck's
look at
going
the
on
punum
there?
on this guy. Look,
That
he's
is
got a face. He's
unacceptable.
wow,
So
man.
now
Crazy.
we selected a lot of different backgrounds. We worked with a lot of interior designers.
Yeah,
and
I was
we were
thinking.
able to come up with that.
Now I voted for the apartment from Three's Company as his background, but
Yeah.
then I got outvoted. It's 3-1. No, it's 2-1.
It's offensive. It's a different day.
It was a different
time.
era, yeah. It was more of a Mr. Furley vibe for me, but
Yeah,
except for Jack and the Girls and all that, and
Yeah, no, it
Crazy
could've
Larry, the used car salesman. I'm just running off with it.
Now he's
Welcome
just
to-
showing you how well he knows that.
because brag.
Yeah. John Ritter.
Rest in peace.
Sorry about that.
Welcome to Two Guys with Guitars. I'm Eugene Edwards over here. That's Dr. Dylan Caligiuri over there, and that's producer Daniel back over there.
Back in the
Hello.
place.
Yeah,
there.
exactly. So,
In the area.
Dylan had this idea that way. By the way, I'm going to throw him. If this is a dud of an
It goes
episode,
terribly. Yeah.
um,
P.O. Box.
creativity
Yeah.
on guitar. Yeah, they'll be PO'd. All right. Creativity on guitar. Now, I'm thinking. Now, sometimes I've had private students who, because my job is to keep them going.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, obviously, I'm keeping track of the progress and what I think is best for them coming next. So,
Yeah.
but sometimes they'll surprise me. They'll surprise me and say, well, actually, I'm getting a little burnt out on this genre, or what have you. So it's always interesting to me when someone else hits the creative wall.
And
It's
you
not
guys should
fun when it
always
happens
tell
to
your
me.
teachers if you ever get to that point. I think personally.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
I think you should always tell your teacher if you ever feel
and some don't know
Yeah.
that they're there.
right.
They don't know why they're not inspired. They don't know this that
Yeah.
they've hit the wall. But that's why you always talk to your students at the beginning. How's it going? How's the guitar been treating you?
And let's change it up if it's not.
Let's change it up.
Yeah.
So this is about this moment. Now, obviously, this happens to beginners. It happens to intermediate. Happens to the advanced, right? And so we're just going to talk about these little tips, and you can kind of apply most of these across that experience spectrum. But obviously, some will get a little more involved. Others are really, really, really simple. So I'm going to hand it off to you now in terms of. When did you first come across this as a player? And do you remember where you were in your playing when you realized, I need to I don't feel creative anymore?
I think so. What would happen when I started learning guitar? Of course, I was a kid, so it was kind of a different point in life in terms of the way you think about creativity.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot of thinking about thinking when you're a kid. So you're not really you're just sort of living. You don't have a full prefrontal cortex to work with yet. So you're really just kind of living the experience. So what would happen is I would learn a technique. I remember learning the day I learned how to palm mute was like,
Do a little more.
Yeah,
You
so
just
and I was just like, oh my God, this is the most powerful thing.
no, but why did that hit you that way? Because it sounded more like the records you were listening to, or what was the deal?
Just because I realized that, what I didn't realize at the time, it would have been dynamics, that there was this dynamic variability that you could have. Yeah.
Interesting, right? Everything you've been playing up until then, from the moment you picked up a guitar, it was making a big, clear, strong note. Right? You're trying to actually make the note as less muted as possible in the very
Right.
beginning. Can you make that
Get
sound
it to
right there?
work.
get
the
it to
question.
sound like it. And now someone's saying, okay, no, not so much.
Yeah, and everything in between. And then if you have distortion on and you're into that, it's going to add like a ton of dynamic variability to that. So
at the very top there, that's what I was palm muting the whole time.
exactly. And when somebody's soloing over the top of something, that's an incredibly effective tool, right? So you just, I didn't realize any of that at the time, but I mean, I realized this is a way to be creative, is what I think I realized. And then later on in the career, it became like writing music for television and film, and I'm like, how am I gonna? I have nothing to say.
Yeah.
And so it really became, what am I gonna find? Huh!
See how I went unmuted right there? I was underneath him, a bed. He was talking.
Did you see that?
And then I opened it up, and whoa!
It forced me
That's right.
into a comeuppance.
But you're talking about manipulating emotions with music and dynamics.
Yeah. So
As I did
so I would take like let's say if it was something like this, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Well, I guess I'll move one voice. And started
Just
looking at
one voice at a time was
Yeah.
dropping.
Yeah.
And before you knew it, your whole thing had moved.
I have a line, and I can
Huh.
take the line and start to work and create an idea through that. And so it had become something where it was like, well, if you want to be creative, don't force it. And I think that was a big part of it. But you need to have the tools and they have to be like in the constitution of your playing to the extent that you don't have to think about them.
So, guys, this is a bit about
The tools.
For the most part, we just want to play guitar, right?
Yeah.
We just want to pick up the guitar and play some
Right.
tunes.
Yeah.
And we do. And I always say what's really great in terms of learning songs, like really learning songs and how music works.
Yeah.
This is like, again, with my students, okay, we're going to learn fill in the whatever song it is. Now, every song to
Tie
me
the
has
yellow ribbon.
tie yellow ribbon.
Okay.
There's some theory. There's a lesson to be learned in every song.
And are you kidding? The changes in that?
Okay, for in that case, there's a lot of chord changes to tie the yellow ribbon. So we might talk about borrowed chords in that song and things like that. Point is, there's a reason why we want to learn all these parts of music and structure. And this is where, and we're going to talk about scales. We're going to talk about intervals, which always sound like these scientific things. Oh, come on, get on with it. But when you get in a jam, if you're trying to write your own songs or you're trying to improvise your own solos, or you just even if you want your noodling to sound tasteful, these are the tools you're going to want to have in your toolbox.
Yeah. I mean, they're big overarching ideas.
Right. Okay, so let's start. You start. We have some categories.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have you kind of like the doctor is in.
Big picture here, right? So we're working with harmonic devices, and harmonic means chords, right? So it means more than 3 notes at the same time. Then we're working with melodic. So melodic would be anytime you have a melody, it's usually repeating. Right? So, and then we're
So
working...
jazzy all the time.
I know, right? So what you can do. And then rhythmic creativity. So this really is a tambourine with strings on it when you get down to it. And the role of a guitar normally in an ensemble, which is another name for a death metal band, is really is a rhythm keeper. By the way.
That's what it originally was until, except for like the solo blues man, basically, or blues person.
Sure, fair enough.
And until Leo and Les Paul and those folks came up with amplifying the guitar and making it louder, it was really only a rhythm instrument. You heard him just play, Oh, sorry. I guess you wouldn't hear. You'd have to turn it up. It was 4/4. Sort of, you're just holding down the rhythm, and when it came time for you to play a solo, you really couldn't be heard all that much, and that's why.
Yeah, over the top. And so even if you do have the tone to sit over the top of everybody else, it's the guitar. Think about the way a violin works. So when you start moving the bow, you don't actually hear sound right away. So when somebody's conducting an orchestra and they go, there's not sound immediately. It actually takes a second to come in, and it's an entire group.
Okay.
And so the guitar has such a plucked rhythm, a character.
I know where you're going with this.
So
it's more like a piano and a
It's
percussion.
much more
It's
like
more
a
like a which is a percussion instrument.
which is a percussion instrument.
Because a hammer hits a mallet hits a string.
Yep.
We are okay. I have
we're
the squeakiest chair. Can
we're
everyone
living
get my chair?
mallets.
I gotta oil this.
Squeak in
sucker.
time.
A little-
And then dynamic creativity, and we'll talk about how to do that. So dynamics means like the volume level, the intensity level, and then finally sort of guitaristic things that are unique to guitar. Guitar is one of the only things that strums next to a harp. There's not a whole lot of things that strum. So believe it or not, strumming as like sort of white bread as that might seem, is a really guitaristic thing.
Yeah, because you're right. Like harpsichords and or even a ukulele, it's pretty quick.
It's pretty quick. I should say guitar, ukulele,
Fretted
stuff.
Yeah.
But like so these are things that are all tools for creativity. So we'll jump right in.
Okay, starting with you want to start with the rhythmic, because to me rhythm is.
I say we start with the rhythmic.
Yeah, because we can have rhythm without harmony, and melody, but we can't have harmony and melody without rhythm. So
and nobody's gonna want to listen to it anyways. It's out of time. So,
it would. Yeah.
Do you want to take the rhythm one?
So here's something. Now, Dave Grohl has said often, and when he plays guitar, he still plays it as a drummer, and not in just that like he's hitting it for percussion and playing a rhythm, but he also kind of sees it. And I'm going to paraphrase the man wildly here, but it's sort of he actually sees like the bottom three strings, the lower strings, are like his kick drum and his floor tom, the lower drums. And then the top three strings are more like the snare and the hi-hat and the rest of the cymbals, kind of the higher timbre instruments. So he sees the guitar as kind of like one half is kind of low drums and the other half is high percussion. So if you're a drummer, you go boom, tsh, boom, boom, tsh, that sort of thing. He's that's a really basic rock rhythm there, and I'm just holding an E-shaped G chord at the 3rd fret. But what's really important is to think of this not so much as a guitar, and think of it really purely as a rhythm instrument. Here's Tales from the Studio. Tracking with Dwight. There's a song where I play a kind of a, what would you call it? A staccato. I'm shadowing the bass. I'm doing something not exactly this, but something similar to this. Oh wait. Right, real country thing. Muted. And then we listened to it on one of the verses. I kind of got ahead a little bit. And what happened was I was actually shadowing the bass player, but also I'm also playing the same thing as the drummer.
Right.
And so I went to replace that. I went to drop in and replace it. What I did was I turned off all the instruments except for the bass and the drums. And I turned the drums way up because I'm really playing kick, and then Mitch is using snares, and he was a kick and then 2 8th notes on the snare. So doom, 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 doom. That's what he's playing. And I'm actually playing kick and then that right there where the 2 hits on the snare with the brushes. Kick.
He's the kick drum basically, and then
so this note and this note are
you're
the
playing
kick.
a train is what you're playing.
It's a train beat.
Yep.
And the D string, in this case, D string, that muted, that's the 2 hits on the snare. So while I overdubbed it, I really, really did. I know this sounds silly, but I actually was just imagining this is a kick, and this was 2 brushes on the snare, kick. And I just kind of imagined playing Mitch's drum part along with him. And it helped. It just helps.
Sure.
It just helps me. Now, here's another good one. If you want to write your own riff, right? So we just kind of like, we want to noodle. We want to make a loop, let's say. Writing riffs is a lot of fun. And there's a lot of great tips on writing riffs, and that could be a whole separate episode. But here's one that we're just thinking about rhythmic and how to be creative with it. I say steal, but
Steal like an artist.
steal creatively.
Oh, okay.
So, well, yeah. So what I mean by this is again, think of a drum fill you really, really like, or a drum intro. Like I was thinking earlier, like John Bonham's drum intro to rock and roll, which is basically the
first 400 times you play it as a guitarist, you're like, so wait, when do we come in again?
But it's also he got it from Little Richard's. I hear you knocking.
I heard that too.
You keep it knocking. So
Mimicry.
Screw up with it. Mimicry. Yeah. So, but I'm going to play that as like say an F sharp power chord. And I mean, maybe that's my 5 chord. That's a heck of an intro. Actually, let's say that's my 5 chord now. So, I just kind of came up with this intro riff, but I didn't do a lot of work. I just kind of played Bonham's intro, but I played it on guitar, and maybe some would kind of notice, hey, isn't that the thing? But it's on a different instrument. It's a different key. So I'm just kind of, another one I mentioned before, just thinking about great drum intros. Steve Gadd's drum intro to 50 Ways to Leave Lover by Paul Simon.
Yeah.
And it's a real hip, he kind of turns the beat upside down. It's you know, boom. I'd like to see how YouTube does the closed captioning for that one.
Yeah.
So what if we just clap that rhythm at first, or tap it out on your leg and get used to just hearing it? And now start thinking about playing that on guitar, though. You think, well, but it's a drum intro. There's no notes. So start with fret hand mute. Very good.
Right.
There you go. So now we're almost all the way there, because now we've got the right hand playing out the entire rhythm. Our fret hand mute is kind of creating the sound, and then now we just have to figure out, again, grab a chord, even if just an A major. So we're on our way. And this to me does not sound like 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover by Paul Simon. Mostly, first of all, because the chords to that song, it's a different key. They move. It's
a completely different atmosphere, really.
different.
Yeah.
Use an E flat 9 chord. Creativity. Right, we just start grabbing ideas and piecing them together, and it can be as simple as that. Now, of course, Dylan's got this E flat 9th chord. Now we're in the James Brown world. He could do anything with this. I mean, he can move the chord around. He can change. We can just put a different bass line on it, whatever you want. But now we're off and running, and we've got a riff. We've got basically the basis of a song that didn't exist just a few minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my little tip there for and just being creative in the rhythm world of guitar.
Yeah, I think it's a great one. So the tool to help you with that, because for most people, even just being able to do this like it's going to be pretty challenging rhythmically.
Oh, no, I picked a pretty tricky...
No, but that's okay, because we got the tool. So the tool for that is to basically work on being able to play 8th notes with the metronome where it's downbeats, because the big device here is called accents. So what is being accented is what's going to have dominance or have like precedence in your mind. So you're going to want to be able to do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all the numbers, and have the ups not accented, and then just the ups. 1 and 2 and 3, and then you move to 16th notes and you're done. So 1, 2, and 3.
Now that you do that, it reminds me, as I understand it, the great song "What Is Hip" by the Tower of Power.
And it goes. What is it?
And the bass, if the bass
goes. Oh God! I hope Rocco's not. Yeah.
The idea here is the band, though, they developed that song out of a different one altogether. They would usually at sound check, we're playing Freddie King's "I'm Going Down."
I'm going down, 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 down.
Which the thing about that, because it was very straight eighths. Anyway, so they just had this really straight eighth rhythm. Yeah, but it was kind of with a real behind the beat snare. And they changed keys, but that's why the bass line is playing such a straight eighth rhythm, because it came out of the sound check of I'm Going Down.
And he was really good at it. I mean,
those guys were,
he's fingering the entire thing.
Yeah,
it's like
Rocco was amazing.
Well, that'll do. And there was nobody to show people stuff like that before him. So, anyways,
so that's an organic. They had one song went creative, but
that's right.
But that's just an example of
yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Continue.
Well, okay, so that's the tool to help you work on this rhythmic creativity, to be able to just sort of comprehend it in a sense of being able to feel like you have some basic tools coming to the table to try to interpret what's happening. Is you want to be able to work on playing the low strings, the high strings, and accenting. Okay, so
That sounds very drum. That sounds very
really
drum
does.
to me. Yeah,
Sounds very drummy.
Sounds like a kid.
Very drummy. Okay, so melodic. Do we have any questions, Daniel? I'm sorry.
Yeah, there are a couple of questions. The first one is, are minor chords best for creating a feeling of disclosure, disdain, or anger?
Disclosure.
And I would think maybe in a difference of like how much can you get from minor that you can't get from major, or a difference?
Oh, I have.
Well,
some...
Michael Douglas in the early 90s starred in Disclosure, and so I do believe there was a lot of minor chords used in that.
If I were scoring that movie, I'd use a lot
minor
of minor
place.
chords. So minor chords. Now I love that the way this question was phrased was minor chords, not keys. Chords. Very important. Obviously, it's that minor third. That's the element that we would if we're explaining this to kindergarten, that's the sad note. So the difference, obviously, from an A major, but when I just move the major third and I flatten it to the minor third, it goes. Okay. Now, yes, some would. I don't know that there's. Well, certainly that's going to suit different moods than a major chord, obviously. By the way, let's like Dylan mentioned this earlier. If you see he's scoring a sequence in a film or for commercial, the third ends up being all the scale tones are important. Don't get me wrong, but this one is the third is so important that I used to do sessions where again playing to screen, and it was like play whatever you want. Actually, just don't play a third
because it denotes
a
quality.
It would commit too much. It would commit too much happy or sad. So you really got used to playing like sus2s and sus4s and things like that. Okay, now
the church did that throughout.
They were afraid of affecting
centuries.
people.
Yeah.
So let's just handle our thirds with a lot of care.
Right, especially around a synagogue.
Now, exactly. Yeah. Now, to answer your question, yes, I do think amongst the scale tones, I think the minor third, and therefore minor chords, it's better suited than the major. Let me put it that way. Now, here's the thing. Now, to get creative with your minor chords, one thing I always advise, especially if you're writing a song or you're messing with a minor chord, this is especially for the beginning songwriters out there. And I may have mentioned this on a previous episode, so but I think it bears repeating. If you've got a song and it's going from, say, your root chord and it's going to the relative minor. So let's say we're in D, and our song goes to B minor and back and forth. Not yet. I'm just gonna play straight up B minor. The bass, yeah. Now, to get some variety going and a little more tension, actually, I'm gonna exploit the behavior of this minor chord here, and I'm gonna rely on its 5. The 5 of B is F sharp. So I'm actually gonna play F sharp before the B minor. So the 5 of the minor chord is going to set up the minor chord in, I think, a really beautiful melodic way. So my D chord stays the same. So I'm just splitting up that last measure there a little bit. And I'm using the F sharp. And just notice the difference between that and the going from D to B minor back and forth. All of a sudden, it just has a little more movement, a little more of that sweet pop thing that I love. And you can do this now in this case, I'm going from the 1 chord to the 6 minor. Let's say I'm going from 1 chord to the 3 minor. I'm going to use the 5 of the 3 minor, in which case that would be F sharp minor. So now the 5 of that is C sharp 7. So, right? C sharp 7,
5 of 3,
and then to the 3.
I'll take it.
See,
that's acceptable.
I can do it with the 2 minor, any of the minor chords in your keys. At least consider using the 5 of whatever minor chord you're about to play right in front of it. Now this gets really. Now at some point this will actually affect your. I believe I did this on an episode. I'm so sorry, but Willie Nelson's Crazy, which is an A, and then it goes to F sharp dominus, 7 before B minor, and then he very jazz, and you can make a case that before maybe it was just A. Crazy for thinking about you, and go straight to the 2 minor, but it's just not as fun. Plus, his melody clears with it. Crazy for thinking about you.
Yeah.
So
Crazy. Sorry.
So he gets crazy.
Crazy for thinking.
So by all means, again, that's a way of just being creative with your minor chords. Now, I would like you to talk a little bit about minor scales, though. And why they might have, and I'm thinking about how some minor scales, for the real musos out there, they have a different. What's the one that is it? The harmonic? It has a different. You play a different 6 going down. Daniel, what am I talking about?
That's the melodic minor.
There you go, the
melodic minor. Yes, of course.
So without going into the weeds of that, but look up the melodic minor scale and look at how you can have a lot of fun with that one. You play a certain sequence of notes if you're ascending, but if you play that scale going back, one of those notes changes.
I mean, especially if you live in the Baroque period,
Can I hear it?
Really? Oh, sorry. Yeah, of course.
Now going down. I love that.
This scale right here is called melodic minor. That's the chord for it, and it is exactly the combination. If major and minor had a baby,
oh yeah,
they would make. And by the way, we're talking about a Romeo and Juliet
and they're
situation.
They're actually it's a real mule of a chord. They can't make.
Yeah.
But if they could,
and they shouldn't. But if they could, you would have this chord, and then. And so what it is so anyways, looking at minor scales, right? So the major scale really is the minor scale, and the minor scale really is the major scale. They're just started on different notes. So if you learn the major scale, who asked the question, Daniel?
This was...
We really ran with this one.
Scott Fogelman.
Scott Fogelman.
Scott! Okay,
Spend this much
so
time.
Scott. Yeah, so Scott knows scale. Okay, so let's say we're
Scott
playing
knows.
our C major scale, right? Wherever you want to play it. So this is C major, but if I start on A, I have A minor.
It's all the same
change
notes.
anything.
Right.
So the major and the minor scale are already within each other, right? They're like that fish that's eating another fish that's eating another fish, or those little Russian dolls, where the
Russian nesting dolls.
Exactly. They're just like that. Well, maybe not exactly. Either way, the point is that it's the context which creates the complexity in the sound. So if I have this guy,
A major 7, add 2.
well, yeah, so add 2 because it doesn't have a 7th. Excuse me. No, it'd be A major 7, A major 9.
A major 9.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, just play major 7. Okay.
But if I have, so they're both pretty similar in complexity sounding,
You only
right?
move 2 things
I
down
only
one
moved
friend.
I only moved down. So this is A major 9. This is A minor 9. Right? So in terms of
rest in peace, Astrid Gilberto.
Yeah, I know. I saw that yesterday.
Kind of reminded her.
Right.
of it.
No, because that is the. Anyway, so but the point is that the complexity of the chord, or what you were talking about, you were alluding to sort of its nature, the way that it sort of hits you, and as the kids would say now, it just hits differently. That element of major or minor, they really share the same level of complexity. It's the context to which they're heard, and so I think it has a lot to do with what the person's singing about over the top of it, what instruments are there, whether it's played fast or played slow. I think those are a lot of the context elements that put it in a box.
But Scott, I think you're instinct right. You hear that minor chord, it's evoking some of those emotions that you listed. In fact, that's a fun thing I do with students. They're not strong with theory.
Yeah.
We're talking about chord theory.
Just
something
go
like
with
that, or
feeling.
voicing.
Don't even worry about theory.
I'll play
Doesn't
a,
matter.
play a major seventh chord. How does this chord make you feel? What do you think? No wrong answers.
It would be the same way that all the other fantastic musicians that we all enjoy listening to went at it.
That's all they're using now. So we did rhythm now. So I guess now we're in the harmonic creativity world. Okay,
I think we're there.
So now, I mean,
Scott took us there.
Scott, you brought us there, buddy. We owe you one.
Yeah. So we did harmonic creativity. And we did rhythmic creativity. Now we're in harmonic. So let's take a look at a song that has a 2-chord progression in it, and we're going to look at how we can reframe the harmonic devices. So harmonic device just means the way that a chord functions. So where does a chord want to lead? Just the same way a note wants to lead in a direction, where does a chord want to lead? Okay. All right. So if we're looking at this song, we're going to do a
breakdown, right? Okay.
You guys reckon? You remember this? Everybody remembers that. Okay, so if we replace that second chord, which is a G major.
Let's identify. So we're essentially playing A minor and G major.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to replace the second chord with any sort of replacement for. So, Daniel, give me a replacement for G major.
E minor.
Well, now you're going way out on a limb. We're going to go there, but give me something super
Not
obvious.
yet. Yeah, not yet. Just another G.
Daniel answered
another
with
G chord.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, how about G minor?
No. I want to stay in the same function though.
Oh, I see.
How about G major 7?
How about G major 7?
There we go.
So when Dylan said function, what he was insinuating was we want to keep the major third.
That's right. Because the major
third is so important in that it's so functional and blah blah blah. Okay, so so it's G, so it's A minor to G major 7.
So what does that do in terms of feeling? Eugene. Yes, go.
Name's Eugene. Well, it sounds like hold music now.
Sounds like I'm waiting at Walgreens for something.
Yeah, it sounds like a muted trumpet is going to come in and go.
Well, he can't do that anymore. But okay, so we got so that's it. So that's an example of a replacement, right? Here's another one. So let's say we replace it with this guy. So and let's say we play a different version of A minor.
So that's still a G chord you're playing.
Right.
So a G, was that 6?
It's G major 9.
G major 9. I'm getting all these wrong today. Okay, so ouch. But it's still essentially A minor to a G major, but the G major chord just has more stuff in it.
That's it. It's basically, but it denotes different things. And this goes back to what Scott was talking about.
Right.
Those new notes within the chord create an entirely new sort of aesthetic to the chord, right?
Right.
So if last one, and then we'll do the one that Daniel said. Okay. So if we have,
Can I still?
Now, you notice what's different about this is that there's a bunch of what I would call money notes in these chords, and that melody doesn't hit any of them, right? It just sort of like floats in between all of them.
Yeah, right. That's.
It's like.
Well, that line's bulletproof, man.
Yeah.
way to go, Mr. Campbell. No, so the story on that, this is the
it's a good story.
The research part is they were working on that third album and they were in the studio already, or at a rehearsal, and they were just playing those two changes in that rhythm. That shuffle, the rhythm came first.
Yes,
Stanley Lynch, and they're just playing this A minor to G thing, and there's like I think they go like almost 7 minutes of just with mostly Mike Campbell just soloing over it, just improvising. Somewhere in those 7 minutes, at some point, he hits upon this.
And everybody stops and says,
No one stopped. No, stop it. No one stopped. They kept playing because it was just another part of his noodling. I think Tom's the one who went back, or somebody did notice, like,
I'm seeing a hat. I'm seeing a big
something
hat.
about that 4th minute, there was a thing. And you pull that out of there. So this is playing with others, man.
Yeah.
For your creativity. You know, they'll pull stuff out of you. You'll play something you may have not played. Maybe
you have to turn your brain off, though,
a little bit
there.
Yeah.
You gotta stop thinking.
But he's not thinking too hard.
No.
It's really the root note A, and the 5th of the A minor chord, which is E, and then he does it again, but an octave lower. But he slides down 2 frets on and just lands there. So, I mean, not the most involved thing, but cool as hell.
So
cool as hell.
We're talking about chord substitution, basically, is the term for this.
Oh, yeah. What he did, there.
When we're doing this, right? And so that's a harmonic device to be able to create creativity. The other one would be to change the context, and this is going to border between rhythmic and harmonic creativity. But so if we take and play with our fingers. Okay, so it's like it's not even the same song at all, even though those are really exactly the same two chords we were playing before.
Yeah, exactly. The Skeletons, it's in there somewhere, but we're really pulling away from the chord. And then Daniel has suggested E minor, which is brilliant actually. The relative minor of any major chord.
Right.
If you get your little circle of fifths mapped out, everybody, and play that relative minor. So I guess the riff wouldn't be affected at all, right?
Well, we'll do both examples.
Okay.
So this is going to be A minor.
By the way, I've completely broken up the rhythm. I'm actually staggering. I'm not playing at the same rate as.
So that's
Mike's
the
in.
relative minor of G, our second chord. Let's go with the relative major of our first chord. So it's going to be.
I can't. It's so pleasant. So there, you can eviscerate a cool Mike Campbell, Tom
You'll
Petty.
probably get a cease and desist letter.
Well, no, so that's just it. No, you won't, because it won't resemble it. Well, you'll get like a bad taste citation.
Let's see you do that, AI. Yeah. Huh? Let's see you do that.
You have to actually ask, okay, hey, chatbot, can you ruin a Tom Petty?
Oh, I'm sure you can.
It's like, well, we got people that can do that.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions there, Daniel? Sorry.
Yeah, well, going off of that real quick,
Yeah.
John Weebly asks if that's like a tritone substitution.
Oh, let's do a tritone substitution. Yeah.
Is it?
Cool. No. But let's do one.
They're not? Okay,
So-
let's do one.
So basically, a tritone substitution is where you do what Eugene was talking about, which is you play the secondary dominant or you play a primary dominant to the resulting chord. So if I'm moving from A minor to G, the 5 of G, G, A, B, C, D. That's the 5,
D.
right? So if I go A minor, D, G, that would be just playing the dominant of G prior to the chord, just the way you were doing it earlier.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you.
Now, if we take the tritone substitution of D, we're going to end up with this. So it's going to be basically the tritone away from that 5 chord. So I have A minor. Now, where I would play D, I play a chord off the tritone of D, which is the flat 5.
Flat 5.
And then, so I end up with, let's try 2, 3, 4.
It's so weird.
And so it's going to be all about where you're playing what note that's going to clash or not clash. But tritone subs generally sound pretty jazzy when they're in the primary harmonic position.
Jazzy, yeah.
Now, if I'm playing this, right, or you play this for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to infer a tritone sub with the soloing instead of with the chord. So it's going to be. Keep going. So it's going to sound like Tension City because it's literally every note that's not in either one of those chords pretty much.
Can you do me a favor, buddy, and scroll down the script a little bit, our little Google Doc there, just kind of see what, because now I feel like we moved into the melodic creativity.
We moved into the melodic.
We're
And
just
you know what? It happened
seamlessly going from
naturally.
yes, it did.
It happened the way
as smooth as a tritone substitution.
But so John, tritone substitutions are a somewhat jarring device. Not always. They don't have to be, but they're a device that moves from a chord to a chord by it ends up being by half steps. So if you just play A minor, you can play the dominant chord above wherever your landing chord is, and you play the tritone. So, yeah,
that's very smooth. That's that round, and especially at the very end of a song.
Yeah,
it's a very, very, very satisfying resolution there.
Yep.
By the way, okay, so let's get to a couple of the other melodic creativity things. One of the things, again, we're guitar players.
We well, not for text.
Oh, you know what? Actually,
text-wise,
I'm sorry.
we're not.
Can you scroll at the top? I had an Albert Einstein quote just right above it there.
Oh, I saw that.
Albert
That
Einstein
was
he said,
disturbing.
creativity is seeing what everyone else has seen and thinking what no one else has thought. Now, unfortunately, Einstein couldn't play guitar for crap, but we can. So, what?
Just trying to work my way through that. Seeing what everybody else has seen.
It's an equation. It's just like it's the same.
Thinking.
No. Yes. Yeah. And thinking
what no one else has thought.
Yeah. Are we sure about that?
That might be tough to do.
Okay.
Because you don't know what other people thought.
Okay. Well, he couldn't play guitar and he couldn't make good quotes either, apparently. But we're gonna spot him that because he did other cool stuff.
He was a hell of a patents officer.
He was a tongue model.
Yeah.
That one picture. That's a crunk on history joke. Any hoozles. So,
now you want it down
sometimes, it's just to have the list. So I know that sometimes I remember I was goofing around one day on the couch with a guitar, an acoustic guitar, and I love "Telephone Line" by ELO. You know that little intro, that little keyboard intro. I wanted to figure that out, and so I'm just kind of picking up a. And then I think that's how it goes. But then I wanted to have it like you call it more pianistic quality. So because I have 6 strings here, and each one of them's tuned to a particular note. So what I did was I kind of looked at it and go, hey, wait a minute, do I play am I fretting any notes that I could otherwise play open?
Yeah.
And I think there's that last one. I'm fretting
that guy open,
so.
Yeah.
And then here at the end, that second, the open E. So I fret the F here at the 6th fret so I can play them over each other. So just to get, and okay, that's a little more guitarish, you know? And then also same thing, there's a little kind of a figure in Strawberry Fields. A strawberry fields forever. And then you hear so that's everything fretted. But there's one note, again, an E natural. I thought, I can play an E natural on an open string. Why don't we do that?
Right.
So these are using open strings in a way that, again, on a piano, middle C. There's only one place I can possibly play middle C on a piano. I have no options. It's that button right there. Guitar. How many middle C's do you have?
Well, there's 2, but there's other
notes. I'm sorry. Go up an octave for middle C, then an octave up.
You can play that one 3 places. Oh,
C above middle C.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. It's 4 on that. Yeah.
So I can play that. So some notes we can play in several places. So let's take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Be creative. If you find yourself playing anything and you play either, well, obviously this lowest E, that's the only spot you can play that one.
Right.
But even if it's your open A string, you have the option of playing that same note, the 5th fret of the E, and then on and on and on.
Yeah.
And so then you get these really nice little lines here, and it could be a piano figure, it could be another guitar figure. You
can't do that from here.
And then look at the mess you guys right there. Who's gonna clean this up?
But
that's better. So talk to me about like this sort of device, if you will.
So a good way for you guys to practice this is take a pentatonic scale, like A minor pentatonic.
Okay.
And then I would put a piece of paper in front of me and write down the names of the open strings. So E, B, G, D, A, E. And then as you're playing through the pentatonic scale, you're like, okay, this is A minor pentatonic. C is not one of those notes. Nope. Okay. But A is, So I could octave displace
Oh,
if I wanted to go
swap
crazy.
it out. Swap it out for the open A string. I got
exactly. And then here's this G.
you. Hey.
Now I can play an open E.
Uh-huh.
And so you can find where each one of these notes would sit. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. You could do a ton, right?
Oh, wow.
And you'll find that the key of A minor and C are going to be pretty easy. Also the key of G.
Oh, that's beautiful. I
So-
love that stuff right there.
That's what I would do is I'd write the names of the strings out, because now your brain's going to be doing like two pretty similar things at the same time. So you're trying to play the scale, think about what notes in the scale, and then keep track of what open strings you have. So write the names of the notes that the string names are, and just be able to reference back and forth between that.
If you see one of those, if you
Yeah.
see that you're playing one of those,
Grab it.
Find the open
It
string
might not
version
work,
of
but
it.
grab it.
Yeah, but that's not it. Don't worry about whether something's working. We're talking about creativity.
Yeah.
We're in the spot where we're throwing stuff, and some of it will work, some of it won't work.
Right.
But that's not kind of the point right now. We're just trying to get out of a rut. We're just trying to
and you know
noodle creatively.
What's
you know?
the coolest thing about a lot of this stuff, guys, is that it's like Marcus Aurelius. Each thing.
Oh, him again.
I know. I'm sorry about that. I won't do it. But basically,
No. Go ahead with
you have
Marcus
to
Aurelius.
deep dive into whatever it is, and it's as its part. Like, so you are really taking a single thing apart and understanding it very well. And as a learner, I think a lot of times you're like, well, I have so much stuff to learn. I don't have time to deep dive into one scale to that extent. It's like, actually, those skills will carry over to everything else you ever do.
Yeah.
So the entire learning moving forward, instead of having to learn something verbatim, you're learning it through reference. You're learning it through understanding. And so it's taxing on the brain to do this stuff, but it will speed up your learning time massively.
It's going to the gym.
Yeah,
It's just you're taking your brain to the gym. It's
Yeah.
going to work out a bunch of stuff, and
Yeah.
then it'll use those
the
muscles.
guitar brain gym.
The guitar
Not just
brain
regular,
gym.
yeah, not
that's
taxes
that's a
gym or
good one.
anything.
No,
God, I gotta do
again
my
with the
taxes.
taxes.
I really don't want to do it.
The taxes came up. My taxes came up, and I wasn't even here last week.
Yeah, I'm just not even looking for it.
You know-
Oh yeah.
I'm like, by the way, everything worked out.
Wait.
Everything worked out. It's good.
It's a wonderful auditor.
Here's a couple of things, just because we're getting towards the end of the show here.
Okay.
So into other things that seem rather obvious, and they're not as maybe heady as some of these are.
Yeah.
An open tuning.
Oh.
Just look into an open tuning. There's plenty of them online. And there's songs that you can play in an open tuning. Learn a song that's originally done in an open tuning. Led Zeppelin, Joni Mitchell, that sort of lot of that. Rolling Stones, and then keep that guitar tuned there. And maybe you learn one song. Maybe you learn two songs that were originally done in that. Keep the guitar there, and you start messing around.
Yeah.
Just start fretting strings high up, and then let other strings ring out open, and see. Again, it may not work. It may work. You're just trying to be creative. And at some point, sometimes I don't think that we're, tired of playing guitar, or we're stuck playing guitar. We're in a rut playing guitar. Maybe we're just in a rut playing standard tuning.
Yeah.
Say that, or grab a capo and just throw it on the 4th fret and just leave it there for a day. No matter what you do, keep it there on the 4th fret. And if you try and venture out, you might get something a little quote unquote wrong, but you might get a really cool interval going that you wouldn't have normally found in your standard tuning or without a capo. Novelty.
Yeah.
You go. An EBO.
Jeez.
Those are fun. I know I don't have I don't have the EBO. I thought I brought
there's
it.
no
I should
sign
bring it.
up on the way in.
Yeah.
But
I had to leave my bag at the check your EBOs at the door. Grab a slide. Just obviously there's also gadgets you can get. Just a great modular pedal. Just a pedal that does something really weird to your signal.
Well, this is where people ask a lot about buying guitars to encourage them to play, or buying
how do you
amps
feel?
to
Okay,
encourage them to
yeah.
play. And I think that's where you can get a push. A dopaminergic push from buying a guitar or an amp or a pedal.
I've never
right?
played one of those. Are those made in Germany?
Street corners all across America.
Dopaminergic.
Great band name, by the way.
It's not bad. Well, actually,
Or album name.
It's
Could
pretty
be an
dope.
album
Yeah,
name.
it's pretty dope.
Dopaminergic. But hold on. So the concept here is that you buy something new, or you get something that changes the aesthetic of what you've been doing, and it gives you a different perspective.
Well,
right?
look, and depending, especially, if you have a Telecaster, getting a different type of Telecaster is only going to stretch you that far. But if you have a Telecaster and you buy a nylon string classical guitar, now we're talking.
Yeah.
Now we've actually made a move.
Yeah.
Like that's really going to you're going to hold it differently. You're going to probably not even use a pick as much. I mean, it's going to force you to structurally change in which could possibly be a great creative way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can we do lightning round? Can we trade fours or something on this?
Yeah, on what?
So I'll play for you.
I'm scared.
You play for me, and then we'll use some devices that we
the things we talked about?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know I was going to be tested.
So
they're the ones who this playing octaves.
it's like an out-of-tune piano. I liked it.
Here's my drum tray.
You got a hitch
I
in
wouldn't
your
even
giddy-up.
tell you what drum fill that was.
So that was approached by half step.
Now your turn.
Oh, okay. So let's do chord substitution. Let's see. Trias. There's a rhythmic device because it's triplets. Dyads.
Dyad over there.
Upbeats. See, now he's doing the major seventh chord. That was the C major 7. I like it. And it's like we're playing a different song by now, right?
At some point, I was playing C major to E minor
I think it totally works.
because I'm flipping the relative minor to the
So, listen, it's not just that we can ruin your favorite songs.
which we could do all day. In fact,
we love to.
Tune in next week.
We love to.
We get something extra for the Patreon subscribe.
But what so there's an overarching theme here, Eugene.
Oh, thank goodness.
And it requires curiosity.
Oh,
Curiosity about how one might do their taxes in a way so that they're able to recover from the massive amount of money they're going to owe.
that was oddly specific.
Yeah. But also curiosity about, for example, how a chord moves from the next one.
Oh, yeah.
How you might approach that. And it can't, one of the biggest things that's important is it has to be genuine curiosity. It can't be judgment. I'm not going to do this well. I can't do this. It's not going to happen. Other people are going to be able to do it better than me. I don't have anything to offer. All those types of things. You're like, wait a minute.
Again, I feel like there is a theme. Yes, I
Come
suppose.
with alcohol or something?
No. So, no, I hear you. And also, just and where they be inspired in rhythm.
Yeah.
Just listen. the construction outside your house, or a drum fill.
Vulnerable.
know.
Be vulnerable.
Be vulnerable. Be open.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to think if this is your first time watching, I first want to.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I want to apologize.
Yeah.
And second of all, I want to say welcome. And
Welcome.
for you new Patreon subscribers, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
We'll have little extra bits for you guys, and the link is somewhere. Daniel, where's the link for the Patreon, folks?
It is in the description right below. Patreon.com/2guys.
Where's Daniel? Can you see?
Let's see. Yeah.
Is he on?
Oh,
Oh,
there
God.
he is, right there. Whoa.
I didn't leave.
No.
Okay, I'm just making sure he's still here.
All right. Anything else, folks?
No, just thanks for being here, and don't forget to leave us comments on the way out, and let us know, any ideas you guys have that you want us to talk about. Also, anything that you've been trying lately, any sort of
That'd be great.
anything that you've been working on, we'd love to hear about.
Love to hear about that because we'll probably push you to the next thing.
Yeah, and we read all of them.
We do.
So don't be afraid to leave us a comment, and then
We'll see you next week. I want to thank
Yeah.
Daniel for helping us put on this mess, and I want to thank Rex
for scratching a lot.
for scratching, but
Yeah.
not knocking anything over, which is normally
Pretty
my job usually.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys around.
See you guys soon.
Okay.
So. There's your train.
Yeah.
Just like the record.
It was just like someone. Yeah. Someone's recording.